Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about the latest non-fiction book I've read, A Treasury of Deception, Liars, Misleaders, Hoodwinkers, and the Extraordinary True Stories of History's Greatest Hoaxes, Fakes, and Frauds by Michael Farquhar. I think that's how you say it. It's Farquhar. I could be mangling that. I apologize. Best-selling author of A Treasury of Great American Scandals. Now, this is a very fast read. I don't know what day I started on, but it was like last week or maybe even Monday I read it. It was just a very fast read. Most of the chapters in this book are running between 2 and 5 pages, so you go through it pretty quick. And a lot of this book really does fall into the category of light entertainment. Talking about, con men and hoaxes, people that were pretending to be royalty, which is very popular. I was quite surprised how many people actually wanted to be considered royalty. I guess there were a lot of perks in an era before there were DNA checks and social media to keep track of those kind of things, before instant communication. Art fraud, things being passed off as they aren't. Things like the Cardiff Giant, a giant buried statue that was supposed to have been a fossilized giant from the biblical era. Things like that. But there were also things in this book that were of much more serious note. The author covers the lies that the Nazis used to justify their atrocities. The entire, all the BS myths about the international Jewry and how the Jews are out to control the world kind of crap. He also covers the lies that political leaders have used over the centuries to justify their atrocities against other religions, other nations, or particular minority groups that they just didn't like. For example, a current favorite amongst leaders in America today, the gay community. And he also covers the exploits of some of the World War II POWs that were held in the Colditz German POW camp. Colditz was a camp where they put all the troublemakers, all of the officers and such that had been escape problems at other POW camps in Germany, and they concentrated them all in this one prison, which was supposed to have been escape-proof. I'm thinking maybe putting all of the best escape artists in one place wasn't the best idea, but that's just me. There were some successful escapes from Colditz. There were plans that failed, and there was one plan that never got to see its fruition, and that always made me really sad, because the camp was liberated before the plan was completed. And the plan was they had built an entire glider in the attic of the keep. Yep, their goal was to fly out of the prison. And that right there, folks, was audacious. So, if you enjoy these kinds of things, this book is going to be right up your alley. And I think it'd also be very useful for game masters, because let's face it, if there are people in the world that fell for all these things in our world, they're going to fall for them in a fantasy setting. You could use all these cons, these frauds, these fakers, modify them slightly for a world of magic. Some of them can be used right out of the box. There are things in here, you just file the names off, change a few things, and you could use these cons in your game, whether it's science fiction or fantasy. So yeah, this is a fun book. I enjoyed it, and I recommend it. I think I may hunt down the other book that the author wrote, which was The Treasury of Great American Scandals, because who doesn't want to read about scandals?